earliest and promptest, and we got it squared away early. So as we welcome my guest, my brother, what's going on,
What's up?
fam?
What's up with you, boy? You good?
Chilling. Hold on,
I'm
let me
good,
put in
son. You
my
all right?
Bluetooth. Aries, what's going on, family?
What's up, boy? You good?
Chilling. Yes, sir. I'm good. How you feeling?
Oh shit! It's another day, baby.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's another day. I know people are just logging on. It's your man Dean Edwards. I have a special guest this week. They're all special guests and friends, and I just want to give you your proper intro. For everybody tuning in to the Father Mother Protocol this week. My guest tonight. Look, I have notes, son. I'm so professional right now.
I like
this
it.
this next cat, you saw him. He did 10 years as one of, I think, the second longest cast member in the history of Mad Television, Mad TV. You know his voice work from the Proud Family, the Boondocks, Black Dynamite, and C Bear and Jamal. He's an
Woo!
actor. You've seen him in numerous television and film programs. Most notably, you know him. I remember him as the brother from Jerry Maguire.
Damn, you almost got the whole
Different.
resume.
Look, a different world. And hold on, and South of Sunset playing Zingy
Uh,
Dwayne, because I remember that show.
oh my goodness.
um,
Yeah.
he's a well respected and world traveled stand up comedian with two great comedy specials, Hollywood Look I'm Smiling, which I love that title, and Comedy Blueprint, which is a shout out to Hove, which I appreciate. And he's the first comic that I think has ever done that, and a lot of people jacked it, Shaquille O'Neal impression, and hosted the AVN Awards in 2018 and 2020, which I just recently watched. Big up to my man and yours,
Yeah.
Aries Spears, in the building. Family, what's good,
What's up,
fellas?
man? Man, you did your homework, man. Damn, I wasn't
Hey,
expecting
man.
all that.
Look, man. For those that don't know, the Father Mother Protocol. This is a podcast I do every Monday night, 11 p.m. I bring on some of my favorite comedians slash comics slash. In this month in August, I'm having my favorite comedians that do impressions. But I'm not saying impressionist because you're more than just an impressionist. So I want to make sure people understand that. And we get under the hood, man. I like to find out what makes people tick, their origin
Right, right.
stories, and really, get to, where you started to where you are today. I appreciate starting off by finding out that you're good, because during these times it's important just to find out how you've been doing for the last 5, 6 months, bro.
Man, I think we all try to take it in stride, man. It's kind of killing
Yeah.
morale a little bit,
Yeah, man.
because
Yeah.
between social distancing and people wearing the face mask and
Right.
not max capacity, it's hitting our bottom line, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
So
man.
so
Yeah.
it's fucked up, and I just wish this shit would hurry up and be over.
Yeah. Yeah, man. How is it in? Because you're based in LA. So
Yeah.
how is it? As far as I know, living in New York, I live in Brooklyn. So living in New York is frustrating. The few times that I do go out, when I go out and I see people not social distancing, not wearing their masks, how is LA with that respect?
LA seems pretty disciplined, but when you look online and I really thought it was just regulated to white folks, because I was looking like this corona shit like white folks do not like being told what to do. These niggas
Right,
bitch about
right,
masks, we had to wear chains. But every
right.
time I look on social media, there's a scene somewhere in Atlanta where niggas act like it's Freaknik. We back in 98. You know what I mean? No masks and
Right,
nothing. So
right,
it ain't
right,
just white folks acting irresponsible. It's us
right.
too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You mentioned bottom line. How how would you say, how strongly has this affected you as a performer? Because I imagine, just like myself and every other comic I know, this is the longest since you started comedy. This is the longest you've ever not been on stage.
Yeah. Um, it's weird, man, because when they started opening the country back up,
Hmm.
everybody had their fingers crossed, like, okay, we're gonna do this right, we're gonna do this slow. and surely,
Right.
but at some point we're gonna get right back into the natural groove of things. But dude,
Right.
I've had gigs like I worked the whole week of every month all year. I've had at
Right.
least 2 months worth of gigs get
Yeah.
canceled on me to the point where I'm only working once a month. So,
Right. Right.
it's just like I said, man, it's just for morale, man. It's just like, God damn, it's tough enough doing the shows with this condom comedy, with our
Right.
faces wearing these face condoms. But
Right.
nigga,
Right.
to have to go in there now and now not work at all, and
Hmm.
it's ridiculous, man.
Yeah. What have you been doing to sort of maintain your mental health and not lose your grip with reality?
I ain't even gonna lie to you, nigga. Vodka and weed, nigga, and some PlayStation. I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. I don't have no regimen.
I
I ain't got no
I
Russell
man that
Simmons yoga. Nigga, it's just vodka and weed, nigga.
that's as real as it gets. Because I ain't gonna front. Pretty much, listen. I don't. I'm one of those cats that I can't play PlayStation too long. Like outside of this, I'll get like maybe 2 or 3 games a year on PlayStation,
Right.
and I know how addicted I get to God of War or Star Wars, any of those games. So I play them and ration. Like I'm like, all right, I'm gonna play for like an hour or two, and
Right.
that's it. Because otherwise, I'm not gonna be creative. I'm not gonna write. Yo, I'm sitting up
Right.
till like 4 o'clock in the morning, just escaping from reality into other worlds, into these fantasy worlds, because it's frustrating
Yeah,
out here.
it's like, yeah, man. I don't really, for me, the creative process usually comes when I'm on the road and I'm not
Yeah,
sitting in a house full of people, and it's
right.
12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's dark in my
Hmm.
room, no TV,
Right,
no
right,
sunlight, and I'm just on my ass laying in bed trying to figure out,
right,
what the next step is creatively, be it on my
right.
podcast, be it a
Hmm.
skit, be it stand up, whatever it is. So,
Right.
for me, sometimes when I come home, because I'm so much on the road and I do everything on the road, when I'm home, nigga,
Hmm.
I'm home. I don't go out. I don't do
Right,
nothing. I
right.
just say fuck stand up, fuck comedy. I
Hmm.
just need to relax a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. No, I mean, and which is important. And I know there's so many of us that are so used to being on the road.
Yeah,
Living on the road, living out your suitcase, and that becomes the norm.
yeah,
I have my first gig coming up at Acme next month, and I got excited when I went on Delta's website.
mm,
Because I hadn't been on a just looking at flights
right.
excited me, because I'm so used to that, and hadn't had that in so many months, that I actually felt the endorphins, like, oh, finally I
Mm.
get on the plane, and it's exciting, but that's also our norm, that's our life.
What's Acme again? That's Minnesota,
Yeah, yeah, Acme's in Minneapolis,
Minneapolis. Right, right,
Minnesota.
right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
How
it's
was that
that and
club?
the House of Comedy. Yo, honestly, that's one of my favorite clubs in the country. I know
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people, I know people sometimes will play either Acme or the House of Comedy in the mall, but my preference is how there's certain cities that are that the crowds are just comedy literate,
Right.
and you can build and build your set, and really take some chances. Minneapolis and Acme Comedy Club is one of those clubs that when I got booked, I was like, okay, this being my first club to go back and get busy on, I'm excited that it's
Right.
this one.
Yeah, man. For me, it's like, I recently did for the first time. Chuckles got two clubs, one in Memphis,
Okay.
and they just
Hmm.
opened one in Mississippi. And listen, I
Okay.
jokingly say, but with all due respect and love on my podcast, I'm not a big fan of the South, only because I
Okay.
just don't think I fare as well there as I do,
Hmm.
like you said, East Coast, West Coast, Philly,
Right.
New York, DC Improv, Baltimore,
Right.
Chicago, anywhere on the West Coast. I just think I'm a different vibe with the Southern
Right.
crowd. Like I recently went to Mississippi, and the girl said to me, I ordered a pizza. And she literally was like, "What street are you on?" And I was like, "I got to get the fuck out of Mississippi before I run into some slave catchers." Uh, I like niggas that read. Uh, so you know, I'm a city boy. You know what I mean? I'm Ray
Right.
Gibson. I'm Ray Gibson,
Yeah.
Claude.
Yes, sir.
So I just like a little bit, and you know, certain guys who I know are a beast in the
Yeah.
South. They're beasts, period. But
Yeah.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Uh, I just think there's a little bit of something in they swagger where the
Hmm.
South and them, you know, come together. I just feel
Yeah.
like a lot of time, and it's not like I don't do well in the South and I don't get love in the
Of course.
South, and I got love
Right.
for the South.
Right.
I'm a city dude, man.
Right. 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 No, and you're right. There it's interesting because as a performer, there are different regions where certain cats that are hot in other regions have a name down there, but like you said, like a name like Arnez J, like Arnez, you go someplace down south and they're like, man, hey,
Yeah,
Arnez J, you's a funny dude, Aries Spears, but Arnez was here last week, and
Lavelle
you like
Crawford. You know,
Lavelle, yeah,
yeah, man. Like certain clubs I've been to in the South where it was just like I know they sold out, they killed it,
yeah, man.
and for some reason, like I said, I just don't think I translate in the South as
Hmm.
much as I'd like to, you know.
Hmm.
But it be what it be.
Right, right, right. And real quick, rest in peace to Tyler Craig, who was also
Yeah,
one of those beasts down south. I met him in
yeah,
I want to say '96, and m- hilarious comic, but also just a genuinely nice cat, man. Just a real down to earth cat.
Did
Every
they
time
say
I saw him,
did they say what he passed from?
no, I didn't, and it's
Damn.
funny that you say that because a couple people have asked me, and I'm like, you know what? You never know when's the right time to ask people. So when the handful of people I know from like Atlanta that found out and told me or whatever,
Right,
I just let him. I was like, you know what? It don't matter. He's gone, and it's unfortunate that the brother is no longer here because he was a funny dude
right.
and well respected. But back to you. I'm gonna take it back, man, because I know we have only a certain amount of time. Where did you start? Because you're from New York originally.
Yeah. I saw it's funny. I came up with like Bill Bellamy, Hamburger
Hmm.
Jones,
Yeah,
Derek Fox, the
Derek
original
Fox. Yeah,
Shanae, the
Shantae. Yeah,
original
the original. Yeah,
Shanae.
yeah.
Uh,
Say that again.
you know what I mean? Wink, wink, nigga. Uh,
Right.
but nonetheless, I mean, I came up in the Jersey, New York area, Tribeca,
Mm.
Indigo Blues, the Peppermint
Mm.
Lounge,
Wow. Yeah.
East Orange. So, one of my last gigs, one of my favorite gigs, favorite stories to tell is I
Mm.
remember I did a spot, I think it was called Indigo Blues or
Indigo
Tribeca.
Blues.
It might have been one or
Hmm.
the other. But
Okay.
Tracy Morgan and I did the gig together. And then we
Hmm.
took a cab from where we was at in Queens back up to the city. And this nigga Earled all in the back of the cab, fucked up. Uh, but he was still Tracy Morgan, you know.
He had the propeller.
I don't do the propellers back then. I don't do a great Tracy Morgan, but it
Uh,
was like, yo, man, I apologize for that. Let's go to the city. It just, just a
and
wild
that's
boy, man.
Tracy always been crazy, son,
Yeah,
and
man.
that's what's funny because he still he threw up. He was like, "Yo, I mean, I apologize, Papa, but listen, we gotta get these stages,
Yeah, there you go. That was great, dude. I
get
never
these
saw you do that.
stages."
That was amazing. Oh man.
Thanks, me. So when you started, because I remember, because I started in '92, and I remember the first time, as somebody that did impressions, I remember the
Right.
first time I saw you in the light. I think you had a light blue denim joint,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. My Eddie
and
Murphy stage.
clearly, yeah, everybody, yeah, because you had the black leather,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
had the
yeah.
black leather
I
gloves,
didn't want to
right?
make it too obvious on Def Jam by wearing all leather, so I
Right,
threw it
right,
off. I said, "Let me go denim, jean jacket
right,
and pants, and the leather
right.
gloves."
The leather
And that's as
glove.
far as I go. But I was,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
god, nigga.
But when you put your foot on them like that, cause you hit them hard. And how old were you at the time?
Def Jam,
Yeah.
16.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Because you were on there with who became legendary comics.
Well, my
from
show was
Bernie.
right. My show was Ellen Cleghorn,
Hmm.
Arnez J, and
It's
one other
funny.
brother. I can't remember his name,
Uh-huh.
but it
Okay.
was another
Okay.
dude. Yeah.
But you came off that, and that's what was interesting about Def Comedy Jam is that everybody popped, every time, like I've had a couple of from Talent to Rob Stapleton to Guy Torrey, and we spoke about the impact of Def Jam, especially in those early years. You know,
Right.
by the time I did it, it was more a rite of passage, and you were part of the fraternity. But
Yeah.
I think the seasons that you did it in those first two or three cycles of the show, when you did it, you had like an opener and then a closer that like hit people like grabbed the audience's neck, and everybody was like, "Yo, did you see this
Right.
young
Right.
cat? He
Right.
was he
Right.
had impressions, and then on top of that, he did the Michael Jackson and
Right.
shut it down, son." And I think and you almost burnt yourself, right? Didn't you?
It not really, but it
Okay.
was it was a what's that? It was a homage or a respect to Michael. So I just listen, man. You know what's really crazy? And I told Bob some of this. When you go back and look at all the old Def Jams, right, from
Uh,
Bellamy to
uh,
me, Corey
yeah,
Holcomb, whoever,
yeah,
it's like we all had these little nervous ticks that we did
yeah.
on stage. Like Bill
Right.
Bellamy must have said, "That's crazy, right?" a million times. Every time he
That's
said something,
funny.
people go, "Yo, that's crazy, right?"
It was crazy, right? Yeah,
Right.
sorry.
And so when you go back and you watch all of us, you can see how green we were. Now
Yeah, yeah,
versus when you see us now, we like jazz musicians, man.
yeah,
We just let
yeah.
the music come to us, man.
Right,
John
right.
Coltrane, Miles
Yeah,
Davis. We
yeah.
just let it
Mingus, yeah.
flow, man. It's not you might still get nervous, but it ain't
Right,
that, oh, you can tell he's new with this. We
right,
seasoned.
right,
You can see the
right,
seasoning now.
right. And which is true because I did something. I did a Zoom talk earlier, and we were talking about doing shows during this whole COVID. And I still haven't done a Zoom show, but my man Ali Sadiq did something on comedy COVID comedy show probably in April. So we were only about a month into this. So I did something on there. It was the first time in I'm gonna say probably 2 decades that I felt nervous. Like
Right.
because we all have anxiety in that when it's showtime, it's not so much nerves, it's just okay, I just want to get my head right and find my center. But it's not you're not nervous because you've done
Right.
it a million times, so you know how to win immediately. It's more, all right, let me get my head right. But this is the first time I actually felt myself like, yeah, this is uncharted territory. I don't, you know what I mean?
Well, between the Zoom thing and I know they starting to do comedy outside, which I've never
Yeah,
loved because
yeah,
anytime
nah.
you could sit Indian style with your shoes and socks off on the grass, you too relaxed for comedy. You're
Yeah,
not ready to
man.
receive jokes.
Yeah,
You too
yeah,
relaxed.
yeah. You're
So
right.
I never liked the outdoor element, this Zoom shit. I'm just real old school, man. Like
Yeah.
I came up in the '80s, and
Hmm.
of course, like everybody else, I did my homework, knew about Richard Pryor, but Eddie was my era. So between
Right,
Richard, Eddie, Carlin,
right.
Chris Rock, and all the people from that era on, like
Hmm.
I'm old school. I'm stubborn, man. I can't
Yeah.
whatever that new wave is for comedy.
Hmm. Hmm.
Niggas doing a Zoom in your room by yourself. No, 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 no.
Right.
That to me is like beating off, nigga. I need contact. You know what I mean?
No,
I can't. I don't do that.
I I agree. I did that one, and I was supposed to do a Zoom thing, and it happened right around when the Black Lives Matter and then George Floyd really was boiling over, and I just it didn't happen. But I'm actually glad it didn't because someone told me later on that they did a Zoom show and got heckled,
Uh,
and to me, it's bad enough having to do a show in your living room or your bedroom, but just to have a dude laying on his bed watching you and
and talking
critiquing
shit.
you,
Right.
yeah, man. That's I said, you know what, I'll wait. I could
Yeah,
wait.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
would rather wait till either I could do it right or I don't want to fuck with it at all.
Right. So, and you know what, you mentioned something that how important, because you like me, Eddie is like our Yoda, right? Eddie's like our
Right.
Yoda. And what was it about Delirious that I'm imagining that's one of the things that
Of
sort of made you say
course.
that's what I want to do?
Yeah, that and his run on SNL.
Of course, yeah,
Because like again, the impressions and all that, that's really
yeah,
the characters what inspired me to want to, do that. But there was just a realness and a rawness in the 80s.
yeah,
Tail end of the 70s, starting of the 80s. It was such a and I remember when my dad took me to go see 48 Hours in Trading Places. And I
yeah,
just the effect that Eddie had on people in the theater, the way they would
yeah,
laugh. From
yeah,
doing stand-up, there's a difference between a laugh and
yeah,
you are touching somebody.
yeah,
You know
man,
what I mean?
yeah,
It's guttural.
yeah,
It's the tear ducts are wet. And
yeah,
Eddie had that kind of powerful response. And I
yeah,
loved it. I love that kind of
yeah.
attention when you hear that.
And Eddie also he had unlike say like everybody had their rhythm and their swagger, but Eddie I think spoke to us because he was young, he was younger compared to everybody else,
Right.
right? And B he had that first wave of hip hop energy where it was just he was cool,
Right.
right? There was a coolness to him, but there was also a relatability. Whereas like Richard, when Richard spoke, Richard was like an adult, and you were a
Right.
kid, like I was a kid. So it was funny, but it didn't connect. But Eddie, talking about whether it was Aunt Bunny to the ice cream man, we were kids, so we could relate. We
Right.
could relate to it,
Let me ask you this. Because prior to the explosion of Def Jam, Hollywood only allowed one nigga per decade.
Yeah,
So
I
you
call
had
it the Highlanders. Yeah, they
right,
treated us like Highlanders.
right. So you had like Pryor in the '60s. Red Fox in the '60s. Pryor
Right,
in the '70s. Eddie in the
right.
'80s. Then Def Jam exploded, and it was a
Yeah,
different game. Do you
yeah.
think that if Def Jam was around with those kind of comedians and that much talent,
Hmm.
that many comedians, Eddie would have
Hmm.
still stood out had he come along at the same time?
That's a
You
good
know what I mean?
question. Yeah, that's a good question. I think I think talent still, regardless of hypotheticals, Eddie still would have risen to the top. But I think the class and the opportunities, a lot of the cats that came up with Eddie would have popped probably a little sooner,
Right,
because I'll take it back even before Def Jam. I think after Eddie, you had that small window of Hollywood Shuffle, I'm gonna get you sucker, and then Eddie did the Uptown Comedy Express. So you had Chris Rock and Arsenio and Robert Townsend and Mooney and then Barry Sobel. You gotta have a
yeah,
white
yeah,
dude.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so I think those opportunities weren't present, and the same cast that we saw eventually pop would have just popped a little sooner.
Right, right. And I say this, all due respect, like Robert Townsend, who I think is one of the greatest comedic writers
Yeah, yeah.
and thinkers, and we know Paul Mooney and all that, and
Hmm.
Keenan Ivory Wayans. But it always felt like to me, and I think you just used the word of that class.
Hmm.
Undoubtedly Eddie was head and shoulders above
Yeah,
everybody. Whereas again,
yeah,
when you look at Def Jam, Cedric, Steve, Bernie, Cat, Chappelle, I can go on and on and on. Eddie Griffin.
yeah.
Does Eddie Murphy stand out as strong? Because I'm
Mm.
saying I'm just saying. I
Yeah,
think of
yeah,
the
yeah.
guys he came up with,
Right,
hands down, he was Jordan. He was
right,
Jordan.
right.
Everybody
Yeah,
else was all star players, but he was Jordan.
yeah,
I'm wondering if he's still Jordan in the Def Jam era.
yeah. That's an interesting. No, that's an interesting. That's a hard. It's hard for me to do the comparison because so many people, excuse me, after Eddie and Def Jam being like a decade after Delirious, after after we saw him do it, we saw sort of a formula of his style, of his flow. And
Right.
so when Def Comedy Jam premiered, you saw a variety of styles, which to me is what was dope about Def Jam because Bernie didn't sound like DL and DL didn't sound like Eddie Griffin and so forth.
And Chris Tucker
Eh,
was so a dude of his own.
right, right,
Right.
right. So that's I'm not big on hypotheticals, but that's actually a
Right.
dope hypothetical because it makes you think. It makes you
Yeah,
wonder.
man. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, look, white mainstream America didn't know that there was that many of us out there.
No,
Which,
no.
which, is why when Def Jam exploded, it wasn't a mystery because you got
Right.
all this talent all over
Right.
the country that never had a
Right.
platform. So
Exactly.
it gave
Exactly.
white America and black America a chance to go, well, black people know we've been here, but it gave
Right.
white people to
Right.
go, there's so many of you. So, we
Right.
could give them more
Right.
to choose from, even though
Right.
Hollywood still has its list of automatic go-tos.
Yeah, of course, of course. Well, because of comfort, they go with we joked a couple weeks ago. We were talking about that there's a group of black actors that if you've been in a movie with Gabrielle Union, there were like five leading men that they always leaned on. And
Right,
that's not
right,
to take away from their talent. That's not to take away from Morris Chestnut's talent
right,
look, I'm trying to think of everybody who was in The Best Man, Tay Diggs,
right.
and so
Terrence
forth.
Howard, dudes like
Terrence
that.
Howard.
Yeah,
Yeah, those you always saw or still see the same people get cycled through. And
right,
so as an actor, you're always like, all right, I'm vying to get in that class where I can at least be in the conversation when it's
right.
time to cast people. Um, so at what point did you decide that you were going to pursue this?
I mean, I knew it basically 14.
Okay.
Which is when I started. I just knew prior to 14. I thought, let me. I kind of always knew I wanted to be famous, but I thought I was
Hmm.
going to be a rapper. I tried that.
Hmm.
I thought I was
Hmm.
going to be boxer, but I
Uh,
come from family. I come from bad stock, nigga. My mother's from Mississippi. My father's from Tennessee. Salt and
oh,
grease was
damn.
important to us, so
Right.
I knew I didn't have that in me. But I'd always been funny and always been trying to be a cut up. So I was like,
Right.
fuck it, man. And I read somewhere that, Eddie Murphy and I had the same birthday, same sign.
Uh,
So I was
April
like,
4th.
yeah, April 3rd.
Yeah.
So I
April
read
3rd.
that, yeah.
Pardon
So I read that he had started at 14. So I just took all that as inspiration and said, fuck it.
me. Hmm. Right, right, right. And do you remember, and I'm not going to ask you to do your first set, but
Oh,
do you
dude,
remember?
listen. Me and my mother and my sister went to the improv first. And back then,
Okay.
to get on stage, you had to draw your number out of a hat.
Right,
So
right,
all
right, right.
three of us put numbers in. None of us got called. So I'm deflated. And then we
Uh,
about to go back home to Jersey. And a dude told my mother, there's this spot called the Uptown Comedy Cafe up in Harlem.
right,
So you might want
right.
to go check that out. So at that time, all I did was I did three impressions. I did Jack Nicholson, Eddie
Okay.
Murphy, and James
Uh-huh.
Brown doing a Pepsi commercial.
Oh,
Uh,
dig.
but yeah, that shit where I'm in the mirror at home, like
Yeah.
I'm so and so for. So I just did that, and it did well. It killed, and I was just
Hmm.
the bug was in me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
When you booked Def Jam, because it's crazy just saying you're still in high school when you booked Def Jam.
yeah. I
And
watched I watched my premiere at one of my white friends' house, and the whole fucking school was over there. Now I started getting pussy. Oh, it was beautiful.
I know it. I know it was age
Yeah,
16. Because you go back to school on Monday and everybody's yo, then
yeah.
you were no longer you were Aries Spears. Then they put respect on your name.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful, man. And
That's
shortly
dope.
after that, I dropped out of school, got my GED, and
Hmm.
moved to LA.
Uh-huh. And when you got to LA, because and correct me if I'm wrong, because I remember hearing, did Debbie Allen and her husband Norm Nixon, they were your managers?
Norm was my manager, yeah.
Norm was your
Uh,
manager? Okay.
Norm was my manager, and Debbie was the producer, showrunner on Different World. So
Different world.
obviously,
Okay.
because her husband's my manager, I did
Right.
2 episodes of that, and I
Okay.
remember DL Hewley was the opener for Fresh Prince, and he was doing stand up. He was the warm up,
Oh
and
wow.
so
Okay.
yeah, and so I had done a show with him and Michael Collier in Detroit the year before. So when I went
Okay.
by Fresh Prince, DL showed me love and was like, yo, y'all gotta check this young dude out, Def
Uh-huh.
Jam, blah, blah, blah. So he let me get up and do like a 2 minutes of stand up. Long
During
story
the
short,
taping.
during the taping, long
Okay.
story short, word got around town fast. Yo, there's this hot young kid in here, amazing, blah,
Uh-huh.
blah, blah. So for the next 5 years of my life in LA, I just had holding deals. Now they don't do those no more.
Wow.
But back in
Right,
them
right,
days, they gave you a holding deal and said, look, we're gonna
right,
give you X amount of money to take you off
right,
the market and develop
right,
something. So
right.
every year I was with a new network with nothing developed, but I had probably made $1 million before I was
Right.
21.
Dig
And,
it.
and
Dig
and
it.
eventually I found my way on the Mad TV when I finally
Hmm.
signed my last deal at Fox.
And was the because here's what's funny. I remember South of Sunset, and I faintly remember there. I think from the pilot there was a scene with you and Glenn Fry, and I remember watching. I was like, that's like 48 hours, like Nick
Oh,
Nolte
definitely.
and Eddie Murphy.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
was
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Um, Yeah, man. Listen, it was crazy because we got murdered. First of all, we were up against Home Improvement, which was the
oh
number
damn,
one show in
yeah,
television, followed
right.
by Melrose Place, which was
Ah,
another hot show.
right.
Then it was during the World Series, and LA was
Oh,
going through the fires, so we didn't even
oh,
air in LA. And
right.
and
Damn.
Glenn Fry was such a, God rest his soul, but he was such a dick to the network
Oh,
heads because he wasn't
mhm.
really a great actor, but they hired him because he was Glenn Fry. But halfway
Right,
through
right.
the shoot, he got an acting coach, so his shit
Hmm.
got better. So he was like, "Yo, don't air the first episodes where I was terrible. Let's reshoot
Uh-huh.
it." It was like, you know how much money that's gonna cost? Nah, we
Right,
ain't
right,
doing that. So he
right,
cursed them out, was like, "F y'all" and this and nigga. So between the fires, the World Series, Home Improvement, Melrose Place, and
right.
bad ratings, nigga, we got canceled after the first episode.
Mm, damn, damn.
Yeah.
When that happens, because you're still a young kid. When that happens, are you thinking, "Damn, well, this is my big shot and that's it," or are you just rolling with like, "All right, on to the next"?
Dean, I was so arrogant, nigga. You couldn't tell me. You couldn't tell me that I wasn't gonna be the next shit. Nigga,
Right.
I watched the old footage of me when I was on Entertainment Tonight and they was
Uh,
promoting the show. And I
uh.
said some shit that when I watched it today made me cringe. I was
Oh,
like,
what?
I said, yo, mark my word, 2 years from now, I'm gonna be the biggest box office star in the world. Nigga, further from the truth. Cut to nigga. Nah. So I was humbled. I was so arrogant, nigga. I cringed.
But you know what? You know what? And what I could appreciate about that is at least maturity is as let you look back on it and say, I might have been tripping a little bit, but you, success in entertainment and specifically in stand up does require a certain amount of confidence, and you can't be on Entertainment Tonight saying, well, I hope this goes well, but
No,
hey,
that's
if not,
that's exactly what you should be saying. That's exactly what you should be saying. Because white folks love niggas that hope, maybe, could be. I'm with the best. So it's in God's hands. White folks love niggas like that. I was straight. Yo, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to have a butler. I'm going to have a Learjet. Oh, nigga. Oh, no. No.
they're like, geez, he's young, but it's kind of cocky. And why
Yeah.
does he
Oh,
have that
yeah. Oh,
that leather
yeah.
glove on?
Yeah, dude. It was cringeworthy.
But that had that show continued, you might not have gotten the opportunity with Mad TV. So everything happens in its time for its reason.
Yeah. Listen, man, I've been fortunate in the sense that I started young enough to where I could make certain kind of mistakes
Right, right,
and learn from them. And shit, I'm still making mistakes.
right, right. We all
But
do.
yeah, but at the end of the day, listen. And this is not. I'm trying as hard as I can since I just said what I said, not to
Hmm.
be arrogant. But
Right.
I think that if I was a half-ass comic or some bullshit ass comic, I would
Hmm.
have fizzled out a long time ago. Now I know
Right.
all the haters will call me washed up, but nigga, I'll tell them, look at your life and look at mine. On your worst day, or my worst day
Right.
is better than your
Right.
best day. So let's keep it
Right.
in perspective. But that
Right.
being said, I mean, um, I'm still here. I'm still
Exactly.
relevant. I'm
Exactly.
still respected. I still can go on the road and sell out
Yeah.
venues. And I ain't
Yeah.
been on TV in a major way, shit, in maybe 15 years. Last time I
Dig
was
it.
in a major movie, Jerry Maguire, it's 22 years ago. Now,
Dig it.
I've done
Wow.
things along the way. I've done
Right.
things to sustain me. But in terms
Right.
of what people would call big time shit, yeah, it ain't
Mm.
been that. But the fact
Right.
that I'm still here 30 years later,
Yeah.
uh, I think I'm doing
Salute.
something right.
Yeah, you are, and to those people that would say that, because we hear it all the time in our industry. Think about how many six-figure failures we know. But because I think the average person, layperson, judges what we do based on whatever they're seeing
Right.
the masses consume, whether it's in major feature film or in television. But to me, success is really based on are you able, like you said, you've been doing this 30 years, you've been able to sustain a career for 30 years, which is a success in and of itself. On top of that, I remember meeting your daughter at the Laugh Factory in Long Beach,
Hmm.
and I'm sure she has the best education. You live comfortably. So what do we really gauge success off of? And that's what
Right.
people lose perspective on. So I salute anybody, that still is here. Knowing, because in what we do, this is peaks and valleys, right?
Right.
And the main goal is just to continue. If you
Right.
continue and you win it, that's a win right there.
Well, one of the best comedians of all time, God rest his soul, Patrice O'Neal. I remember when I
Shout out
saw him do
Patrice.
an
Yeah.
interview, he was
Hmm.
like, the guy said to him, "Have you made it?" And he goes, "Well, what's it? What's making
Right.
it?" So, and listen, all of our definitions are
Right.
different in terms of what's making it. Because what's making it for
Right.
me might not be what's making it for you.
Right.
And
Right.
again, that's why I'm
Yeah.
saying in terms of perspective, for the
Yeah.
motherfuckers that have never done it, for the motherfuckers
Right.
that talk shit, okay, your perspective is skewed because your
Yeah.
standard of making it is what Kevin Hart, the $20 million dude, the biggest
Hmm.
mansions, cars, private
Right.
jets. Yeah, that's
Right.
sweet. I ain't gonna lie, we
Right.
all would love to attain that. But
Of
just
course.
because we have not hit that level yet means
Right.
what? We're failures. Like,
Right.
come on, man.
Right.
I'm in the fifty
Right.
percent tax bracket, nigga. I'm
Right.
succeeding.
Right. Right. Well, and real talk, you're in the 1% as far as entertainers, and then even higher up when you look at the grand scheme of how many stand-up comedians there are on the planet. You're in that 1%. You're in at least the top 5% of earners, because we know what kind of money you make when you're new in this,
Right.
versus, sometimes when you first start out, you're doing shows for free food and some money to get back and forth to the show. You're earning a living, and a nice living.
Right.
I've been on the road where they were like, yeah, Aries was just here 2 weeks ago, and Tracy was here. So we're winning. You know what I mean?
I mean, just
And
just 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 to be in that company though, whether they go,
exact
yo,
right,
Aries was just here, Dean is coming,
right,
Godfrey's in 2 weeks,
right,
Tracy Morgan. It's like if this is the NBA, we're
right,
playing with the other elites. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Whereas
right, right,
some motherfuckers is performing at these C and D clubs where it's just
right,
like, we couldn't even begin to afford to bring you. You know what I mean?
right,
We couldn't begin to afford to pay for your hotel. So,
right,
it's just about
right.
perspective. And listen, man, at the end of the day, I tell people, all the people that hate on you, all the people that say that wow shit, are people
Hmm.
that either don't know how or too scared to pursue their dreams. There's
Say
nothing I
that.
can think of worse in life than to have to get up, answer to a boss who tells you when to eat, who tells you when
Yeah.
to come back from lunch. You got to punch
Right.
the clock. You go home when
Right.
he tell you go home. Like, nigga,
Right.
we make our own, we work when we want to work. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
that's
saying? And in
freedom.
terms of perspective, again, we do a weekend, 4 shows, 5 shows, 1 hour, 1 hour Thursday, one Sunday, two Friday, Saturday. Okay, before 6 shows, for
Right.
however much money we make for
Right.
6 hours of work. And
Right.
other than when we on that stage, we in the room hibernating. We traveling,
Right.
visiting the city. Might be getting some
Right.
pussy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Get whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
We are our own bosses. So that's
True
wonderful, man.
indeed. That's freedom right there, man. That's freedom. We got 19 more minutes. I'm keeping the clock. We still rolling. Talk to me about Mad TV because it was such a big part of your life. And doing any first of all, people have to understand being on a TV show. First of all, getting hired on any TV show that makes it beyond pilot and lasts a
Yeah.
season is a win.
Right.
Being on it for more than one season is a win. Being on for 10 seasons is why, even if you haven't been on television or in film in a major way in 15 years, you still, when you go to wherever in the country or even, overseas, because I know you do a lot of overseas gigs too and get paid quite well. um, so that the show was so important, and how did Mad TV come about, and you booking the show, I should say.
Like I said, when my round of deals finally came to head, Fox was my last stop.
Okay.
Um, and at first, when I went to Fox, I had booked a pilot called Crosstown Traffic, which was basically the Mod Squad.
Okay.
And I also auditioned for Mad TV that same year. They wanted me,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
I was locked into this deal with Aaron Spelling, and Aaron Spelling was
Okay.
behind Crosstown Traffic. And for those who
Okay.
don't know, he was the
Yeah.
mastermind behind
Yeah.
Beverly Hills 90210,
Yeah.
Melrose Place, Crescent
Dynasty.
Heights, Dynasty. Um, so long story short, the pilot never got picked up, and I had spent 2 years with Fox, and the then um, head of the network, Peter Chernin, was a big fan
Mm.
of mine. So he was just like,
Okay.
"Look, man, your deal's about to expire. I want you on this network in some capacity, even though we couldn't
Hmm.
develop nothing for you. The pilot with Aaron Spelling didn't happen. You auditioned for Mad TV the first year they wanted you, so fuck it.
Hmm.
You still want to do the show?" And by that time, they were in season 3. So I was just like,
Okay.
"Yeah, man, put me on."
Okay. Okay. Because and correct me if I'm wrong. I remember watching Arsenio. And were you on that when they premiered the new cast? Did they premiere the new cast, or what? It might have been when the show first started. I remember.
I think it was when the show first started.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
because at that point I knew who you were, and so it's like you said, we were Highlanders. There were only so many of us. So
right.
anytime you saw one of us, you're like, oh, okay, he got an opportunity. That means I could get an opportunity. It was
Right,
like
right.
motivation. It was like motivation. So you were on, because I remember those early seasons, like Orlando Jones, Phil Lamar were like the Black Cats. You had Deborah Wilson,
Deborah Wilson, yeah.
and so Mad TV to me seemed like the next step in the evolution of sketch comedy. Like you had SNL, then you had In Living Color, then you had Mad TV. And what I loved about Mad TV was you saw a multiracial cast, and it wasn't just one black cat in each sketch. You saw y'all across the board. So was there an overlap between you and Phil, or you and Orlando, or were you like the new black cat on the
I
show?
was I was more like the new black dude.
Okay.
I'm gonna have a moment of vanity, and not
Hmm.
just I'm gonna take myself completely out the equation.
Hmm.
Fox never supported Mad TV the way we wish
Really?
they would have. Like, look, man, we
Hmm.
had Susan Sarandon on, Kathy
Hmm.
Bates, Jay Z,
Yeah.
Gwen Stefani, uh, Missy Elliott, some of the biggest names in music,
Yeah.
and they never promoted us ever. The only
Mm.
promotion we would ever get would be the lead-in from the news. So
Mm.
if the 11 o'clock news came on, they cut off at 11:30. As they sign
Hmm.
off, they go, "And keep it locked here for Mad TV." How the
Oh
fuck you
wow.
got Susan Sarandon, Kathy Bates,
Wow.
Jay Z, and y'all not running ads during the day on none of your shit? So
Right.
we
Right.
always felt like we never got the respect from the industry that we deserved.
Hmm.
The fans loved us. People that watched
Yeah.
that younger generation of kids that grow up and grew up
Right.
and will come up to me now and go, "Dude, I was this many years old when you was on the show. I grew up
Right.
watching you. I used to sneak and
Right.
watch you."
Right.
So we got a lot of love and appreciation from fans, but the industry,
Yeah.
they could have gave a fuck about us. And Mad TV, other than SNL, is the longest running sketch show of all time.
Hmm.
They did
Yeah.
14 years. No other
Yeah.
sketch
Such a
show
good run.
outside of SNL has seen that kind of longevity.
Right. Right. I'll do you one better because I was a fan of Mad TV, and I remember hold on, I remember when I was on Saturday Night Live. This is like season one, baby, episode 6.
Right.
Because y'all came on at 11 and we went live at 11:30. I'm in my dressing room. Yeah, hey, I will watch.
Will Ferrell told me the same shit. I
Yo,
bumped into him at a
I,
car wash, and he was like, "Yo, we used to watch y'all in the makeup
yo,
room getting ready." Yeah,
getting ready. I was like, because you like steel sharp and steel, so I'm watching like, oh, that's I remember like the world's greatest
statutory rapist.
statutory rapist. Yeah, like
Yeah,
the joints were funny. And here's what's funny. I ain't gonna say the kids member, but what, I'm watching, and because where my dressing room was. No, so this is my second season, like episode 5. I'm in my dressing room and the TV's on and a senior cast member walks by and kind of it's like walks by and like, hey, really?
wow, that's
And
funny.
I was like, it's funny, because I wasn't. I'm like, man, funny is funny. I ain't get caught up in the
Listen, man,
politics of.
I envy you because listen, I've always been real about it. I'm certainly grateful for my time on Mad TV. You know, it
Mhm.
turned me from somebody struggling trying to make a name for myself
Right.
to making a name for myself. And again, I worked with some fantastic Will Sasso, Mo Collins,
Yeah.
Deborah Wilson,
Dang
uh,
it.
fucking
Deborah was
Stephanie
underrated.
Weir,
She
all
doesn't
Deborah.
like
And
I.
this is what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like a lot of those people, again, take me out the fucking equation. I
Right.
felt like all those people never got the shine they deserve. Deborah
Right.
Wilson
Right.
could impersonate Whitney Houston.
Everybody.
And
Yo.
I mean, look, as far as nailing Whitney's voice,
Yeah.
100%, nobody could do
Yeah.
that. But she came damn
Yeah.
close. She could do
Yo.
Oprah. She could act.
Yeah.
She did so many impressions. She knew
Yeah.
timing. Like Deborah was a
Yeah.
monster. And I always was
Beats.
like, she should be larger than what she really
She
is.
should.
And she
She
never,
should.
got that break.
People people like in here like I've seen a couple of comments like, yo, what happened to Deborah Wilson? Actually, because she still works. And again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, just because y'all don't see somebody doesn't mean they aren't working. Like she's in the most recent
Call of Duty.
Star Wars Fallen Jedi. She has
She's
like she
she's she's in Call of Duty, Star
Mhm.
Wars, and Days Gone. Like I'm a video
Yeah,
game junkie,
yeah,
so I got about
yeah,
3 games where I looked up, heard the voice, and I'm like, God damn, Deborah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
and she does a lot of voiceover, so
yeah,
she
yeah.
still works. But again, like Mo
But she
Collins
should
eventually
be.
went on to do.
Yeah.
I think she's on The Walking Dead, one of
The
those
Walking
Walking Dead.
Fear the Walking Dead, yeah.
Will Sasso's got something he's doing on
He has a
ABC.
new show, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so look, as long as they get their just due, man, I'm just saying they
yeah,
deserve it.
yeah. So you do the show for 10 years. How much time? Because I know people want to see us do the impressions, and
Oh
so
shit.
we'll hit them with something, and like we'll give y'all 7 minutes. Lastly, because son, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Like I said, I'm up late now, just watching TV, and I turn on, and it says the AVN of awards.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's Aries.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Because you've seen all these people late at night while you're in a hotel room,
Right.
but now you're literally in their faces. They're in yours. How did
Well,
how that sort of come about?
AVNs, there was a lot of comedians who did it. Greg Fitzsimmons,
Yeah, Jim
so
Norton. I know
Jim
Norton has
Norton.
hosted. Yeah,
So they've had a couple of people host it, and again, they top-notch musical guests. The year
yeah.
I did it. The
Hmm.
first year I did it, Lil Wayne was the guest.
Mm.
Second year I did it, Doja Cat. I
Hmm.
forget what the DJ's name is. Some white dude with a cowboy hat. Lil Pump. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So the year before that was Cardi B. So they
Hmm.
asked me to do it, and based on what they paid me and what it was, I said, yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
That's why again I got to go back to this. when people go, man, you washed up. So let me make sure I understand this. I got a very high five figures,
Hmm.
south of
Right.
50,000 to do
Hmm.
that.
Right.
And I'm surrounded by porno stars in
Hmm.
Vegas
Right.
for that amount of work for
Right.
one night.
Right.
Niggas, please.
Right. It's a win.
Like, come on, man.
It's a win.
Perspective, nigga. You
Yeah,
punch a
man.
clock, I look at titties.
Yeah.
You know what
Right.
I mean? And I'm gonna make it that one night, which you ain't gonna make in 2 years total.
Right.
Like,
Right.
come on, man,
Right.
knock it off, man.
Right. Doing a room like that, because every room is different, but playing that room, it was, did you find it more challenge? I was gonna say, I caught myself saying, was it harder? But that seemed too close to a pun.
Right.
Was it more challenging
It was, and
doing a
here's
room
why.
like that?
Because I went into it assuming, like, you know how uh, a lot of comics don't like doing colleges, and
Yeah.
my manager always felt like, dude, you would kill a college. Like,
Right.
nah, that's a misconception. They don't know shit. They ain't got no real
Right.
life experience. They can't relate to shit. Some of my references is from the 80s and 90s. So a lot of
Hmm.
my shit
Hmm.
go over their head. I'm saying that to
Right.
say it's a horrible experience. But the
Hmm.
assumption is I'm gonna be a kid in a candy store. I thought the
Hmm.
same thing about the AVNs. I'm going, man, these is porn stars. This is wild shit. This is gonna be great. But the
Right.
producer was like, listen, man, you have to be careful with this crowd because they
Hmm.
don't want to be laughed at. They want to be laughed
Right.
with. And if you go
Right.
in there and you make a bunch of jokes belittling them and making the
Right.
girls feel like whores and tramps and the dudes ain't shit, they will turn on you. So
Right.
you
Right.
got to play this a certain way, which killed my
Right.
spirit because all my jokes was fucked up. All
Right.
the shit I wrote was going to
Right.
demolish these niggas. So
Right.
I had to revamp my set to basically make them know, hey, I come amongst you as a friend, not an
Right.
enemy who's
Right. Right.
trying to make fun
Yeah.
of you. And
Right.
it went really well and they liked it.
Yeah, no, I saw it. I was because I didn't know exactly, but I was like, this seems like it's a challenging room,
Yeah, yeah, it was.
but you got them.
Yeah, yeah. You just have to know you got to come in there with a game plan.
Right, right,
I thought I
right,
could just wing it.
right. And real quick, before we do any impressions, because I want to make sure people go check out your podcast, Spears and Steinberg. Give us a real quick, like one sheet on what the show is and what y'all talk about.
Andy Steinberg is my feature comedian. He opens for me.
Okay.
He actually approached me the when in the early beginnings when he started opening up for me, and he was like, "Yo, I got my own podcast that ain't
Mm,
doing shit. So why don't me
mm,
and you to get together and do one?" So we started it, and best to describe it is 100% uncut Bolivian yayo. It's it's
okay.
it's 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 blue magic. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
we
It's a
live in a
brand
moist,
name.
yeah, it's a brand name. We live in a moist era of comedy, and I
I
think
like that.
political correctness has run amok.
Yeah,
And everywhere where you
yeah.
being told you can't say this, you can't say that,
Hmm.
what to do, what not to do. We just talk about anything and everything, straight
Hmm.
henny, no chaser,
Okay,
raw,
okay,
raw.
okay.
This is STD type shit. This is raw. You try to give
Right,
you something.
right. How many episodes have y'all done?
Tomorrow Wednesday will be 180.
Oh, son, congratulations.
So
Y'all make sure you go
yeah.
subscribe to
It's called
Spears and
Spears and
Steinberg.
Steinberg. Available on all social platforms: Google Play, Apple, Anchor, Spotify, Amazon. Or you can hit me up in my DMs and I'll send it to you personally.
Boom, boom. Lastly, cause we gotta cause I love your Mooney. I love your Mooney. Can we hit him with like I don't know, you never saw me do Tracy since that. So Tracy
I
and
like the
Mooney.
Tracy.
Yeah,
I
okay,
like
all
that.
right. So all right. So yo, poor Mooney, man, Papa. Listen, man, I'm a fan. I bow down to your greatness.
First of all, nigga, what is a papa? Don't call me no shit. I don't know. What the fuck is a goddamn papa, nigga?
No, Papa, listen. That's my ultimate respect. I'm paying you homage. I'm paying you homage.
Nigga, you are not Puerto Rican. You are not Latino, nigga. Talk like a nigga. All that white
I
folk
got
money
I got good
got you.
hair like a Dominican.
Nigga, your hair looks like a black person's ass, nigga. Your shit is rough. You got slave hair, nigga.
That's a baby here. That's like if Halle Berry had a baby with El DeBarge.
Nigga, you are too much. Tracy, you're a wildin' nigga. I heard about your divorce. That bitch is going to rape you, nigga.
Well, listen, listen. I can't. Why, Paul? I ain't gonna lie. You kind of that kind of cut deep.
Nigga,
I've been through a lot.
nigga, why didn't you have her sign a prenup? Prenup is marriage's condom. Strap up,
You
nigga.
know what?
Strap up.
I I ain't gonna say. You know what? You could be right. You could be right. Everybody, listen. Sometimes you have a bad night. I had a bad couple of years. I wasn't paying attention.
She's gonna get you, nigga.
First
She's
Walmart,
gonna
now
get you, nigga.
this.
She's gonna get you, nigga. I'm telling you, she's going to get you. You let them white folks fool you, nigga. All that goddamn money for a nigga, and you didn't have her sign a prenup, nigga. Are you crazy?
I wasn't thinking. I mean, I was lulled into a false sense of security. Or when you say till death do us part, I'm thinking this is how long it's gonna last. Who
Well,
knew?
well, nigga, she's gonna get that Walmart money, nigga. She's gonna get all that goddamn Walmart money,
She ain't
nigga. You
getting
gotta.
all of it. Listen, I stashed some of it away in the projects in Bed-Stuy.
Although there you go, nigga. There you go. That's
You got
nigga
to, you
thinking.
got to, that's called contingency.
Well, there you go, nigga. I didn't even know you know how to say contingency.
Contingency. I want a spelling bee in second grade.
Nigga, you sound like you're still in kindergarten.
No, that's called the Jedi mind. I Jedi mind tricked the entire industry. I fooled everybody.
Well,
Everybody
well,
thinks
then,
I'm
nigga.
slow. I'm too quick.
Well, nigga, fool them again and give me some of that goddamn money.
Listen, if you need money, I got you. But listen, I'm gonna have to. I can't hear. Paul, are you still there? I
Nigga,
can't hear you, Papa.
I got you, nigga.
Paul,
I got you, nigga.
Paul. You know what? I was gonna loan him some money too. Yo, hold on. I gotta do some. See, this I love doing these just cause still, man. Still soft and still. I'm not thinking who
Yeah.
else. Who else? We only got 2 minutes left.
Uh, Let me give him some Shaq.
Shaq and Denzel. Shaq and Denzel. So Shaquille, you know what? I did not realize how big you were till I saw you in person. You're a big guy.
Always been big, always been this my whole life. Everybody knows this how big I am, 7'2", and I dominate. So I gotta be big, I
No.
gotta dominate.
You know what? You are big. You've dominated for many years, and I gotta say, if nobody else says it,